They say there's a house at the edge of Dustmere Hollow that no one stays in for long. It's old, early 1800s. They guess built when this side of town was still a mining village, before the earth dried up and the good people left. Now, it's the kind of neighborhood where the streetlights flicker even when they're off, where cats hiss at empty sidewalks, where houses lean like they're trying to crawl away. And at the very end of the dead-end road, surrounded by iron fencing and tangled ivy, sits the house. No one knows who built it. No one knows who lived there last, but everyone agrees it wants to be left alone. And yet, in 2023, someone listed it online. No realtor, no contact number, just a single photo tilted, gray, slightly out of focus, and beneath it, one line: one must move in immediately. It was curiosity, not desperation, that brought Troy and Lacey Fields to the house. Newly married, looking to escape rent, the city, the noise. They saw the ad, laughed, then drove to Dustmere Hollow just to see it, just to look. They should have turned back when they saw the street sign. It wasn't nailed in, it was carved into a rotting plank. Whitlow Street, letters/deep. They should have turned back when their car lost radio just 6 blocks from the turn, when they saw the birds perched along the wires, all facing the same direction. But they didn't. They pulled up, and the front gate creaked open before they touched it. The house was tall, 3 stories, if you count the crooked attic. Shutters hung sideways. The porch sagged. The windows were stained dark, as if something had bled down them for years. But the door stood open, inviting. A breeze blew from inside, cold, sweet, almost like perfume. They stepped in. The air was still, dry, heavy, like it had been held in lungs too long. The floor groaned. The walls wept not water, but streaks of brown, sticky residue. Yet the fireplace was warm, and on the mantel, a vase of fresh lilies. Someone must have come recently, Lacey whispered. But no dust had been disturbed, no footprints in the dirt. They explored. Upstairs, the bedrooms were empty, the wallpaper peeled in sheets. But there were photos on the wall, old, sepia, and in every single one, the same woman, dressed in black, veil over her face, standing behind families who never looked at her, always in the background, always watching. In the basement, they found the door, half-rotted, bolted shut. Hidden behind a bookshelf they moved by accident. Carved into the wood, below stirs the unwanted. They didn't open it that night, but that was the moment the house decided they belonged to it. They moved in the next day, packed what little they owned. No movers, no paperwork, just went. They slept in the smallest bedroom, the one with no closet, no vents, no windows that could open. Lacey said it felt safer, but at night, the house whispered. From inside the walls, from under the bed, from the drain in the bathroom sink. The second night, Lacey heard footsteps in the attic, pacing, steady, like someone waiting. Troy checked. Empty. But the rocking chair in the corner swayed for hours after he left. On the 4th day, they heard it. Knocking. 3 knocks. From behind the bolted basement door. It happened every day after that. Always at 3 a.m. 3 knocks. A pause. Then the sound of something dragging, not footsteps dragging across stone. Troy wanted to leave, but the car wouldn't start. No signal. No taxi app would load. And every time they walked to the end of the street, the same thing happened. They'd pass the iron gate, walk 5 blocks, then blink, and find themselves back on the porch, as if the road turned inward. The house had closed, and it was hungry. The nights grew worse. The walls began to breathe. The mirrors warped reflections lagging behind their movements. The plumbing groaned with voices, not water. One night, Lacey woke up choking. Troy flicked on the lamp. A handprint dark, wet, and too large to be human was wrapped around her throat. Then, the door opened. The basement. They woke to find it swinging wide. Steps descending into black. And at the top step, a single shoe. Small, child-sized, covered in ash. They should have run. They didn't. They descended. The air grew colder with each step, but not normal cold. Wet cold, breathing cold. Like the walls exhaled mold and memory. The staircase twisted, lower than it should have. And at the bottom, they found a tunnel. Stone walls, wooden beams, old mining lights, some flickering, some smashed. The floor was dirt, damp, stained in places. The tunnel forked in 3 directions. A whisper came from the left. A breeze came from the right. They went forward. The tunnel widened into a chamber. And in that chamber were beds, rusty frames, chains on the floor, fingernail scratches on the walls, and toys. Old, broken, rocking horses with no eyes, dolls with teeth, and something else. A mirror, 10 feet tall, framed in black iron. And in its reflection, not them. Lacey looked in. She saw herself, but older, eyes hollow, face bruised. Behind her, the woman from the photos, black dress, veil, smiling. The mirror cracked, a single line across the middle, and from the cracks, black water dripped. The woman stepped from the reflection, not a ghost, a shape, a wrongness. Her veil lifted. No face, just a mouth, stitched shut, twitching, whispering. Her voice came from behind them. The passage remembers. It always feeds. Troy grabbed Lacey. They ran, but the tunnel changed. It wasn't a passage anymore. It was a throat, pulsing, breathing, walls growing wet, closing inward. They sprinted until light returned. They burst into the basement. The door slammed behind them. They ran upstairs into a house that wasn't the same. The wallpaper was now stitched flesh. The fireplace roared with screams. The photos on the wall bled, and the mirror at the top of the stairs showed only Lacey. Troy was gone. She screamed, ran from room to room. He was nowhere. But the rocking chair moved, and the photo at the end of the hallway, the newest one, showed a man tied to a post. Behind him, the woman in black, and Lacey, smiling. She didn't remember smiling. She didn't remember the ropes around his wrists. The house showed her, one room at a time, how it tricked her, split her in two, made her watch, while another version of her, the one with empty eyes, served it. The house feeds on history, on grief, on guilt. Troy was gone, but he wasn't dead. Just below, the door creaked open again, and Lacey walked back down, smiling. This time, her eyes were hollow. They say the house at Dustmere Hollow is still for sale. The listing updates every few weeks. Always the same price. 1. Must move in immediately. And always a new photo. New names. New silence. If you see the ad, don't answer it. Because the house doesn't want buyers. It wants witnesses. And somewhere beneath the basement, it still breathes, still whispers, still waits. Lacey never left the house. Not really. She walks the upstairs halls now, night after night, barefoot on floorboards that creak under no weight. Sometimes she's crying, sometimes laughing, but mostly she's whispering. To the walls, to herself, to something deeper. Below, she no longer eats. She no longer sleeps. She simply waits for the next ad to go live, for the next curious soul to answer the price no one should ever pay. Sometimes, the front door unlocks itself. Sometimes the gate swings open in the night. And when someone walks in, the lilies on the mantel bloom again. The air sweetens, and the mirror at the top of the stairs begins to clear, as if it's preparing a new reflection. The passage beneath the house shifts, stone grinding on stone. The earth groans, hungry. They say, if you stand outside the house after midnight, you can hear faint knocking from under the ground. 3 knocks, then silence, then a whisper, "Come below." But no one answers. No one except the next one. And the house at Dustmere Hollow always knows.
There's a shadow in the hallway and a voice beneath the floor. I lock the doors, I hold my breath, but it's closer than before. A cold wind in the mirror, footsteps on the stairs. I feel it watching silently, but nothing's ever there. Whilst her whispers in the dark, calling out my name. Something in the silence wants to play a game. Close your eyes too long, you'll never be the same. Whispers in the dark, whispers in the dark.